Tanya Visser, and today we're going to show you how to make one of these bad boys. Isn't it awesome? A beautiful galvanized bucket with little peepholes on the side that plants can grow out of. Hang it in your favorite position, and wow, doesn't it look fab? What we're going to need for today: a galvanized bucket, a little piece of cardboard, some potting soil, your favorite plants, a piece of chain, a bracket, and a permanent marker. The tools that you're going to need: an angle grinder with a steel cutting disc, an electric drill, and a metal drill bit. With your favorite galvanized bucket in hand, or one that you found lying around in the garden, because many of us collect these. These are my favorite. You're going to take the galvanized bucket and you're going to have marked out on a piece of cardboard and cut it out to form a little template. It's 9 centimeters across the top, 7 in height, and 6 at the bottom. So you can see we've almost got a little pot shape that's going on here. Place the bucket on the side, and wherever you're wanting to have these little openings, because that's going to form the opening of our bucket where the plants are going to be planted, place the template on top of it, and then using a permanent koki, mark it out. You could also use what we call a metal scribe, and that would do exactly the same thing, and it would make a little mark along the edges. But if you don't have one of these, a permanent koki does the job just as well. Turn your bucket over, and then you can make your next opening wherever you want. The only thing that you need to remember here when placing them is to place them not too close to each other, because you're going to have plants growing out of these and you need enough space for them to be able to grow and develop nice and healthily. Once you've marked your apertures, the next thing is to get on your safety equipment, which is goggles and gloves, and get your angle grinder out so we can open up these little apertures. Okay folks, I'm all kitted out with my gloves and my sexy safety goggles, and now what we're going to be doing is holding the bucket to make sure that it's not going to move around. You've got your angle grinder, you can start it up. Please, safety is always important, so start up this baby and we're going to make a horrible noise. Right folks, once those have been cut, all you need to do now is just simply take them and just push them out like that. Bend it a bit open. Remember, you can change the angle of this as you're planting, but all you want to do is just open them up like that. And then we are ready to get to the next phase. Before we get to planting, the last thing we've got to do is drill a few holes, which are going to be the drainage holes at the bottom of our bucket. So let's get going with that. Right, drainage holes in place. The first thing we've got to do is take some pebbles and we line the drainage holes with our pebbles, and all this is going to do is really ensure that there are no problems in terms of drainage of our metal hanging basket. Once we've got a layer of those, the next step is to take some good potting soil, which you'll get from your local builders, and I always like to add in at least 1 or 2 handfuls of superphosphate or bone meal. Now you can use either or depending on your preference. Bone meal is organic, superphosphate is a synthesized version of bone meal, but it does exactly the same thing, which is encouraging good strong root growth. It also is advisable at this point is to add in a handful of good organic pellets. And what that's going to do is, as we're busy planting up, so the plants, once they're growing, will be able to have the nutrients that they require in order to get going and looking great. Because remember, anything in a container needs awesome nutrition. If it doesn't have the nutrition, it's just not going to do its thing. So first up, we need to take a small little scoopful and add a very small layer into our container till it reaches this first opening. That is important. You don't want to just add it all up because we've still got a plant into here. Now you take your plant, and for the sides I recommend plants like lettuce if you're wanting to do a herb garden, or petunias, verbenas, anything that you can buy in a little tray of 6 or 9, because it makes it much easier to be able to fit a plant this big into the small hole. If you start buying bigger plants, it does get quite tricky. So rather buy them in the little 6-packs. So what you need to do is take your little plant, and remember, we advised you going from the outside in. So take the plant, you can push that down a bit, gently guide it in. It's going to be lying sideways. Take a look at that. Your little plant is actually lying almost parallel to the soil. And that's important because it's kind of like the way it's going to be growing. We pop that little guy in there. We do the same on the other side because we've got 3 at that same angle. Pop that little baby in there. And our next little guy. And once we've got those lower layers of the openings filled, we then take our potting soil and we add a bit in to cover up those little plants. You're simply going to follow the steps of planting all the sides, and then you get to the top, and that's where you can add in your larger plants like the parsley, this beautiful mint, and of course you could add color in there, whether it be a carnation or a large flowering petunia, and this is where you can really have fun. Remember, folks, at this point, don't be tempted to water it. You rather want to get to the place where you're going to hang it, so put up your bracket, put your piece of chain, and then you can hang it, and then only give it a good watering. Once your bucket is planted up, all you've got to do is attach your bracket and your piece of chain, which simply attaches to the handle of the bucket, and away you go. And look how gorgeous it's looking. Things are going to grow. All you've got to do is remember to deadhead them every now and again. So the flowers that are spent, remove those. Keep it well watered, and it's going to need a watering at least once a day. And the rest is to sit back and enjoy. And remember, everything that you're going to need for today's project is available from your local builder's outlet.